So we have a beautiful text called Viveka Chudamani, supposed to be written by Adi Shankaracharya. I would rather say very carefully, it is attributed to Adi Shankaracharya. That's why I use the word supposed to be written by Adi Shankaracharya. However, whether it is written by Adi Shankaracharya or not, that is not our concern or our point. But the subject matter is very nice, very good. And you will see the elaboration of Tattvavadha in details in this text. Especially when you try to look at Viveka Vairagya, Samadhamadi Satka Sampati and Mumukshutvam, what we call as Anuvandha Chatushtayam. Because I hope you are qualified people, so that's why I keep talking, okay, all the terminologies. So definitely, this especially Viveka Vairagya, you will see verses after verses. Lot of definitions you will see very elaborately in this text. And the role of the teacher. And moreover, exactly how one should spend time. Also there are few meditative verses. Jati niti kula gotra duragam. It will come. I remember long back, okay. Suddenly I am recollecting because I have not looked at the book today, okay, I am sorry to say. Very nice meditative verses, those also we'll see in details. Even though this text is very big, around 581 verses, this book, but a lot of verses are very repetitive. So whatever is not that much important will just go fast, and wherever there is importance, of course, we'll slow down. Most important aspect is here. When it talks about Viveka Chudamani, as you know, Vedanta always highlights Viveka. As I was talking in the morning class, an ethical person need not be a religious person. Whereas a religious person has to be an ethical person. And of course, a religious person who brings Ishvara, bring it, the God who is the both material and efficient cause, and who understands that God is the karma phaladata, the giver of the result of action. Only that person later on can become a student of Vedanta or seeker of self-knowledge. This is a gradual process. Because if Ishvara is not there, suppose only I am an ethical person, because I am sensible enough to analyze what is right, what is wrong, what I should do, what I should not do. That is what is called ethics, minimum ethics. So me being ethical person may change at any given moment, especially in my crucial moment of my life. So if I change in my crucial moment of life, that means I cannot be a seeker of Vedanta either. That's why to become seeker of Vedanta, an ethical person must have Shraddha for Ishvara. Only when Ishvara comes in, and because the person is a religious person, not so-called religion, whatever we are talking, but please understand, take it positive way. When the person is a religious person, then only when he comes to Vedanta or seeks to understand one's own self, that person will be available for teaching. Or else teaching will be just a time pass. The Vedantic teaching will be another type of intellectual massage. Because if you look at Vedantic teaching is one of the best intellectual massage that you can have in life. So that's why here we make it very clear that the Ishvara Buddhi, Samarpana Bhava means that surrendering to the Ishvara, sense of gratitude, availability of mind, or at least putting effort to make my mind available, are must for a seeker of Vedanta. And interestingly, here in this text, very nicely, very carefully, elaborately, these aspects are being taught in a systematic way. Don't worry, let it be there. Why you are worried about the lamp? Please. Okay, thank you. Coming back. So, we have to be very careful in this regard. So, how our mind keeps moving, what happens, what doesn't happen. And especially, this text will keep unfolding one after another, which will be a really great journey, I'm sure. And the text highlights Viveka Chudamani, as I started. Viveka means discrimination. That is the key factor of our life. We all have Viveka, but our Viveka keeps fluctuating. Our Viveka subject to fluctuate, subject to be interpreted, subject to change, subject to many things. Whereas we need a Viveka, the discriminative faculty, or you can say discrimination, which has to be always predominant. At any given situation, my Viveka has to be first. And this text is called Chudamani, crest jewel, like how especially a lady, when it puts alankaram, this ornament, how the crest jewel is visible. Always that is the first attracting point. Here it comes. So anybody sees first, that one eyes falls on it. So also in a life, Viveka should be my crest jewel. It should be available first. Because in any given situation, if Viveka goes to the second, Viveka takes the back bench, definitely I make my mind stronger. Finally, I am defeated. If you observe life, whenever you have agony, whenever you have suffering, whenever you have affliction, it is not because of anything, because previously or before your Viveka went backbench. And wherever Viveka has become secondary, the consequences of it, you have suffering, you have affliction, you have a problem, you have all sort of conflicts in your life. Even though we don't try to analyze, even though we don't try to look at, because we are already inside the conflict. And being in the conflict, we cannot understand. And of course, once we come out, we don't have time because already we are breathing. Now again, we enjoying, again looking at the next conflict. You understand? That is how common people live. They don't have neither time to look back. Now time is short. Now let me go next and next. But in short, in general, whenever I have a problem, whenever I have conflict, whenever I have any sorrow, definitely is related to my misuses of, or underuses of, better word, underuses of my Viveka. So because I have underused my Viveka, that's why I have a problem in my life. And here, to make sure, let my Viveka be in the forefront at any given situation. Yes, it is a practice of, practice and living your life. That's why To make your Viveka in the forefront, you need God's grace and teacher's grace. I have not seen, which is not possible, without the teacher's grace and God's grace, that one will be able to keep the Viveka always in the forefront. It is almost impossible. That's why in the teaching tradition, the teacher's grace becomes so strong. The reason is why, when your mind breaks down, or when you are in the conflict, the words of the scripture will not work. The words of the scripture will not be able to console you, but the words of the teacher will console you. Can you see this point? The one word the teacher says, don't worry, I am there, things will be better. That will take care of your mind. Even if the scripture says, Aham Brahmasmi, Tattvamasi, you know in and out, but remember this Aham Brahmasmi, Tattvamasi will never enter. So that's why we say that God's grace and Guru's grace are equally important. So if only the person taps the God's grace, but not the Guru's grace, definitely the person will not be able to handle the crisis at all in life. So that's why we make it very clear that, as we saw in this last text, Aditya Hridaya, how Rama was being benefited by Agastya at the crucial moment. Remember, Rama had studied Veda. Rama is a God. Everything, but in spite of that, the words of Agastya could help him out and could bring the success. So that is what the life is. So if this is the case, now let me look at this text little carefully. So with this background, let us start the text, okay? Sarva Vedanta Siddhanta Gocharam Tama Gocharam Govindam Paramanandam Sadgurum Pranatosmyaham Sarva Vedanta Siddhanta Gocharam Tama Gocharam Govindam Paramanandam Sadgurum Pranatosmyaham. Very nicely. So my salutations to my Sadguru. So Sadguru means the one who knows the truth, not a sad guru, okay? I can't forget always whenever the Sadguru comes, I remember this Gino, I cannot forget him in my life, okay? Poor fellow, he's no more, wherever he is. So when in TTC time, we had a question, who is Sadguru? And of course everybody wrote Shrotriya Brahmanishta and whatnot. And he wrote entirely differently. And so okay, it was very funny to read. So then I said, why did you write this thing? Completely differently. He said, your question, I answered your question. I said, I have asked you Sadguru. He said, where is Sadguru? You have written S-A-D, sad guru. So who is a sad guru? And he perfectly wrote the description, okay? The one who is miserable, the one who creates this, who creates that. And a very nice explanation. Maybe I have to, look back that note where he wrote all the papers, okay? And in fact, he was being given full mark, okay? Coming back, sometimes Sadgurus become sad guru. Or sad gurus, those who are sad, become Sadguru. God knows. So we do not know. So we have to really look at that aspect very carefully. But however, that is none of our business. So here, when he talks about Sadguru, in short, he gives the point. So though this text is being attributed to Adi Shankaracharya, we have a very nice system in our teaching tradition. As you know, always we highlight Sarvam Vyaso Chistamiti. everything is left over of Vyasacharya. That means a teacher never takes credit for anything. So whatever we talk, it is the blessing of the teaching tradition. We happens to be the carrier of this lamp, the teaching. The light continues. A new lamp gets joined. Maybe few lamps gets joined or one joined, or sometimes lamp goes off. But light continues. So as the light continues, because a lamp joined and maintains the light, lamp cannot take credit. Hey, look, I am the creator of the light, or I am giving better lights. So also the teacher and the teaching. So teaching is perennially flowing. That's why all these teachers prefer to be on the bank of Ganga. Interestingly, if you look at rivers, especially we look at Ganga, Yamuna and Narmada, 3 rivers in India related to lifestyles. If you are interested in knowledge, be near the river of Ganga. Ganga water is related to knowledge. If you keep drinking Ganga water, automatically it really brings knowledge in you. Whereas if you are interested in devotion, be in the bank of Yamuna. That's why on the bank of Yamuna river, you will see lot of devotion oriented ashrams and mutt like Vrindavan and other things. Completely dedicated to devotion. Whereas Narmada river water is meant for tapas, austerity. That's why those who wants to do austerity, from Amarkantak to all these places, they make ashram over there. So coming to these 3 points, what I am trying to say is, Ganga river, because related, the water of Ganga is connected to not only knowledge, many things. It is a punyadayini. That's why all these teaching oriented institutions are on the bank of Ganges. Whether it is in Uttarakanshi starting here, Gangotri not much, go Uttarakanshi, or you go down, as you go down Rishikesh, Haridwar, Kashi, Banaras, as you go down till Calcutta. So they make sure that the bank of Ganges should be connected to the teaching. So here is very carefully is being highlighted that when this teaching continues perennially, this is the point, as the Ganga river flows perennially, no teacher is able to take credit. That's why interestingly in the teaching tradition, the same name is being given to many Swamijis. There is nothing called unique. For example, if I look at Swami Ananda Saraswati, our teacher, please understand there is a confusion. Who is Dayananda? People will ask, who is Dayananda you are asking about it? Means there are so many Dayananda. Earlier were there, now also alive, also will continue. You name it any Swami name, there will be thousands. So that means you don't feel credit. You don't feel great about your name. In fact, you happens to be a contributor. You live your life, your presence itself is a contribution. So when your presence itself is a contribution, you never feel burdened, you never feel suffocated, you never feel pressurized in your life. That's why life should be pressure free completely. Let your presence be contribution. Then only you will see the growth and smiling face in your life all the time. So that's why here is being highlighted as the teaching demands that always the teacher starts with sense of gratitude, reverence to the teacher. Because without the teacher, there is no student or no teaching either. As we say, without parents, children do not exist. Because of the parents, of course, nowadays they don't accept. They'll say because of the children, parents are called parents. This is a new logic, okay? Somebody asked, like, who is born first? The father is born first or the child is born first? So answer comes, no, the father is born first. Then says, how can it be possible? Unless the child is born, father is no more a father. A person is no more a father. So that means the child has to be born first in order to that person to be called as a father. This is called absurd logic. You understand? Yes, logical is perfect, no doubt in it. But what happens if the same child grows up and says, look, because I am born, that's why you are called father, then why should I have sense of gratitude for you? Whereas if a child says, look, because of you I am born, always you are great, then automatically sense of gratitude comes to my father, to my parents. So also the teaching tradition continues in the same fashion, same way, because if there is no teacher, how come there is student? If the nowadays new generation will say, unless I am a student, unless look, find out you are a better student than me, or see how can you get a better student, imagine, that means what? Is there any teacher-student relationship? That is called completely absurd logic. So that's why what one need to look at here is that always being grateful to the teacher and teaching tradition. And interestingly here, we call as Mangalacharanam too. So Mangalacharanam means whenever we start something auspicious thing, whenever we start, always with auspiciousness we start. Because we do not know what are the obstacles we are going to come across. Whether this text is going to get completed or not. Even if it gets completed, whether it is going to reach or not. Even if it reaches, whether people will understand or not. Even if people understand whether it is going to spread or not. Whether it is going to alive or not. You know, all these are palm leaves, okay? If everything will keep ready, then finally the white ants comes, they eat away everything, then finally we will discover there is nothing. Or interestingly, as our Vedaji, interesting went through, I can bring Vedaji's example, okay? Very nice example. His personal thing is if he comes to know, he will kill me. Don't worry, but let him kill me. After studying Vedanta and everything, when he came to Uttarakashi, I'm talking 70s, early 70s. In fact, he came here first. He brought all his books. Came here, stayed with our Swami Premananji and him on the bank of Ganges, where there is a big stone near to that they were staying. A small cot was there, so cottage was there. They stayed. And what happened? After I think 1 or 2 days, huge flood came. Thank God it was daytime, they could see it. It took just 1 minute, they could jump. Vedaji jumped this way and Premananji jumped that way. So they were only one brace, that is what their life, they could save their life. The cottage, the books and everything washed away. So narrow escape they had. Just narrow escape. So what I am trying to say is just many things have happened in life and also happens. So you may collect everything, in a second everything may get washed away. Physically, of course you can see the elemental wise, if nothing happens, your mind also can go crazy. So what is the guarantee that mind will function or respond to you? Is there, do you have any guarantee? Anything can happen at any moment. Your mind may go crazy at any moment. That's why to make sure that mind is on track, to make sure that all the situations are favorable, even if not favorable, let me have strength to face the situation. That's why you need God's grace and the teacher's grace. That's why the teacher's grace becomes the direct blessing for a seeker. So keeping that in mind, he says, my salutations to my Sadguru. So who is your Sadguru? Sadguru means definitely the person must be a Shrotriya and Brahmanishta. So Shrotriya and Brahmanishta means the one who has studied scripture under a teacher for a length of time. Means the person has got methodology of teaching at his or her disposal. Because if there is no methodology of teaching at his or her disposal, the person cannot transmit the knowledge to the next generation. So in short, not only Shrotriya, also Brahmanishta. Brahmanishta means the one who is committed to the teaching, not committed to the name and fame, not committed to the charitable work, not committed to making big ashrams or big name and whatnot. If that big name, big things comes, fantastic, because that is called prarabdha. Nobody can stop it. If it does not come, who cares? But the person has to be committed to the teaching. That's why the most important aspect is when the person is committed to the teaching, the knowledge is called Brahmanishta. So the person here, my salutation to my teacher, who is Sadguru, means who is Shrotriya and Brahmanishta. And who is that Guru? Govindam Paramanandam. So Govindam here we can take it two ways, because Govinda Bhagavat Pada. So Adi Shankaracharya's teacher's name was called Govinda Bhagavat Pada. So because of that reason, so here it is being come. So now my salutations to my teacher. Also here says also Govindam, and who happens to be Paramanandam. So who is in the form of absolute happiness, not ordinary person. Govinda Bhagavatpada, who happens to be Paramananda, who enjoys, who revels, who knows what is Paramananda, in fact his nature. Also we take it the same verse differently. Govinda means here is being recollected as Lord Krishna. So that means also my salutations to the Lord Krishna, and who is also Paramananda Swarupa. We take both way, absolutely no problem. So that means both Guru and God is being saluted in one line. So because the Guru and God both are taken care in one line. So that's why what is that? Again, mainly Guru here. Sarva Vedanta Siddhanta Gocharam Tam Gocharam. And who is that person? Because the Sadguru that is being explained with the word. So who happens to be what? Who knows not only Vedanta, also who knows how the Siddhanta, how to arrive at Vedantic teaching. So that means the one who knows all the Pramana aspect very carefully. The opening itself is openly says, the person who knows how to arrive at Vedantic teaching. Hey, Vedanta Aham Brahmasmi, Vedanta is over. Everybody can be a Vedantic student, okay? In 5 minutes, if you listen to, you can be a Vedantic student. Nowadays, many people are there, you know, somebody I was looking, cycling, cycling, okay? So there are different people, different ways they teach Vedanta, and they are more famous. Please understand, if the person does not know how to arrive at this Vedantic teaching, definitely that Vedanta will not have that much impact in the person either. So it becomes just a piece of information. In fact, there will be not that much, you know, what you call growth or moment. I noticed with our Ranjan very well. I can openly say this point. That fellow is not eating nowadays. Mango season in India now. Mango started coming here. He is not eating mango. So I am pushing, hey, eat. He says, no, this mango is not good. I said, why? Because this is not ripened one. All are chemically ripened. Now I will wait another 15 days, 1 month. Once it gets ripened, because automatically those mangoes will be tasted. He's right. He doesn't take. He said, no, I will wait. So like that, if you observe, unless you have this, unless you arrive at Vedantic teaching, then only if you teach Vedanta, that will have sweet, that will have tasty mango. You like tasty mango. Whereas if you are not available or you are not able to arrive at Vedantic teaching called Siddhanta part, the Pramana aspect, definitely your teaching will have some fallacies. I will tell you a beautiful example. This is what happened to Pujya Swamiji, which is a very personal thing, but let me also share with you people. When Pujya Swamiji took sannyasa, after sannyasi, he became confused. He was perfectly okay, but after sannyasa, he became more confused. He did not know what to do. In fact, he started going and approaching different people because he did not have the Pramana concept clear. He did not have Pramana concept. That Veda is a Pramana, that concept was not clear in him. So he managed somehow to meet Swami Pranavananji of Andhra Pradesh, Gudivada. Such a great person, and from him he got this knowledge that Veda is a Pramana, means of knowledge. That's why Pujya Swamiji's aspect you can see, Veda is a Pramana, this concept he highlights in such a way, any of Pujya Swamiji's students are very good in handling this Veda as a Pramana concept, because he has really done the best, because he himself had gone through this process of confusion. Generally, you don't find any other group of people that Veda as a means of knowledge, this aspect is very clearly the way we people highlight. So what I am highlighting here is very carefully that here we need to look at all this methodology of teaching, how the teaching is being handed over from one person to next person. Because remember, being a process, handling the mind, and of course making sure that Viveka has to be on the forefront all the time, it is not that easy. You cannot allow the Viveka, you cannot allow the mind to move the way you want. Also you cannot tighten it. That's why you have to do as much as required. And of course, while doing it, if the person is not able to cooperate, you have to leave it sometimes, because maybe that is the person's prarabdha. But remember, whatever comes to us, definitely it has a meaning. If not today, tomorrow it will bring some type of result or other. So that's why, keeping that in mind, he says, Sarva Vedanta Siddhanta Gocharam Tam Agocharam. So he is my Acharya. So that Acharya who knows this process and how this works. And definitely when my salutation to that, definitely I take care of many things. Now says beautifully the next verse, let us read, which is very highly quoted. First thing is the teaching is to give you a due respect, to feel proud that you are somebody. Because if you do not have self-confidence, not of the false arrogance, you will not be able to really grab this Vedantic teaching either. But the problem is, if once it's been given self-confidence or appreciation, then if you keep looking for appreciation, that becomes a disease. So remember, this can be dangerous side. So definitely appreciation is must. Who you are, you must really ascertain. You must know, but at the same time, never ever get carried away by it either. So there should be a very thin line between this, and you know where to draw a line. And interestingly, the Guru does better thing in life. Very nicely, the story goes. There was a person who was studying with a teacher, with a master, and after that he left. So he got a job. So after many years, one day he came to meet the teacher. So when he came to meet a teacher, he happened to be the governor of the state. So as usual, he sent his business card through a student. Look, I have come to meet master. So master looked at the business card, didn't understand anything. Who is this person? No, he says student, old student. I don't recognize him. Give him back this visiting card. Then the student, the being governor, he understood something is wrong. So he looked at, oh. So that means maybe the word governor is being written. So my teacher did not like this. Because I am here not come as a governor, I have come here as a student. So that's why what he did, he cut off the word governor. The moment the word governor was being cut off, same business card when sent, then again the teacher looked at, what is this? No, I don't recognize him. Who is he? Please give it back. Then of course, again he looked at what is wrong in it. He discovered, oh, all my addresses and everything is there. So now he cuts the address, again sent back. Then of course the teacher looks at the visiting card, looks back. In the back he has also in the visiting card, sorry, in the business card, lot of other profiles are there. He said, sorry, I don't recognize who is this person. And of course again the same business card goes back, and the student or the governor now discovers, oh, behind must be teacher must have looked at, now saw so many things, now he cuts it up. And only one thing was there, his old name, nothing else. The moment that business card comes to the master says, oh, that fellow has come, call him, why you are making him do it, bring him inside. That is called teacher, With a teacher, please understand, nothing will work except the communication, except your innocence, except your real dedication. Of course, if the teacher is interested in many other things, of course, based on that, teacher will give importance. Whereas if the teacher is interested in teaching, always you look at the innocence of the student, nothing else. However, while discussing this thing, such a beautiful verse comes, verse number 2, which is very popular. It is worth remembering whenever you possible, you can quote it. Jantunam narajanma dullabam atah pustam tato viprata tasmat viveka dharma marga parata. Sorry, tasmat vaidika dharma marga parata vidvanstum No, something is wrong in this book. 1 minute. This is not right. Because my mind doesn't accept, okay? So I have to look at. Okay, tomorrow onwards I will get the book, proper book, okay? Okay. Vidvantam tasmat param atmanatma vivechanam swanubhavo brahmatmana sanstiti muktirno satakoti janma sukriti punni vina labhyate. Not bad, huh? So there is some mistake. Okay, good. Jantunam narajarma dullabam. This verse is a very careful verse and you have to also understand very carefully or else misunderstand, okay? Jantunam narajarma dullabam. Each statement. So he says beautifully, who you are. Looking at yourself, ascertaining yourself. Jantunam narajarma dullabam. Ataha pustam tato viprata. Step by step. So if you look at, to get a human body, narajarma durlabha. Why you are born as a human being? You could have been born as an animal, a stone, plants, creatures, bird, anything. That you are born as a human being. Don't you think that it is a rare thing to happen? And interestingly says, you have to see also, it is not only that, this is the controversial comes, after getting this human body, and not only that, if you observe, you have got 2 legs, not 1 leg, 2 hands, not 1 leg, 1 hand, 2 ears, 2 eyes. Please understand, this is called most important aspect. That's why it was there earlier. Unfortunately now in India is the other way around. To become a king, you should have 24 lakshanas. A person has to be a complete person, has to be a Divya Purusha. Some divinity has to be there. Without a person, a divine person cannot become a king. That's why in Mahabharata, Dhritarashtra was not allowed to become a king because he was a blind person. There are many incidents. If you have some physical deformities, you are not allowed to be in a divine place, in a commanding place. That was the condition. But nowadays what happens? Only all deformities people are on the top level. Not only physically, also mentally deformities, okay? This is called life. Let us not get into that mode, which is very unfortunate. However, let us not get into what he says, that I am having this human body, and moreover all the body is functioning properly. Please, this is the most important aspect. I am not here to point out anybody anything. All my body is functioning properly. Don't you think that is the greatest blessing that I have got? There are thousands of people. They are going crazy because of this corona. Now we are at least having classes and having good time. To be very honest, people are going crazy to talk to some people. Forget about listening such a great teaching, that is a different thing altogether. So that means what? First thing is that I am a human being. I am born, or I have got this human body where I can understand, where my discriminative faculty is strong. That is called human being. Please understand. What is human being? We have discussed this point. Ahara nidra bhayam maithunam cha samana etatam pasubhi narana. Between the human beings and the pasu, the animal. Ahara means food. Ahara bhaya, fear. Nidra, sleep. And maithuna, progeny. These 4 things are common with human beings and pasus, animals. Whereas dharmahi tesham adhikam vishesha. Only one thing makes a creature called human being different from all other creatures. That is called dharma. Power to think, the discriminative power. So a human being is called human being as long as you have discriminative power. In fact, the moment your discriminative power is Viveka is in the forefront, that time you are a human being. When your Viveka goes back, people say, hey, you are behaving like a pashu. In India we say, hey, you are behaving like an animal. We do talk or not? This is called animal instinct. So whenever Viveka goes back, so we are called animal. Whenever Viveka is in the front, we are called human being. So because of the Viveka, we are called human being. So that's why then after that he says, Ataha, thereafter, Pushtam. This is the controversial point. So Pushtam means being a man. Then you can say, wow, Swamiji, you come to the point. Whatever do man? Hey, look at, no, not that way. Manly thinking and womanly thinking. You have to look at the thinking aspect. So when you say manly thinking and womanly thinking, Please understand. You know better, psychology also defines very carefully. So what is manly thinking and what is womanly thinking? So that means the one who is not dependent, the one who does not lament unnecessarily. Please understand, a woman will manage crying, you understand? If anything goes wrong, crying and will console it. It's like very nice we say. It's a very good point also. Suppose anything goes wrong, the woman will keep crying and cutting vegetables, okay? And cooking, everything will be continuing. Simultaneously, we say multiprocessor, okay? Computer has got a multiprocessor. Whereas a man cannot do it. This is a very different thing altogether. So man has to fix. If he cannot fix, man go crazy. This is the problem with the men and women. That's why they never understand each other. This is the problem. Men are going to Mars, women are from Venus, okay? They never understand and they should not understand, okay? Please, this is my joke, okay? Please don't misunderstand. So here is being highlighted that the one who has that non-dependence attitude, especially when this human body is being created, whether you like it or not, whether you accept it or not, a woman body and man body are different. By default, a woman is a tender. Woman body is a tender. Even if you try to make as muscular as possible, try to make as manly as possible, deep within you know you are a woman. In fact, many women fail in their life the more they try to project that they are like a man. Because the body constitutes as such. And why a person is born as a woman? Because of previous karma. Why a person is born as a man? Because that we have to accept. So that's why after accepting, let me grow up mentally, holding on to this body. And of course there are men also, having this male body, they are like woman. Cry, keep crying, continuing. You understand? They are worse in fact. As the man being in the man body, if behaves like a woman, that person is not fit for Vedanta either. So that's why minimum things is required, that I must not depend upon. That dependence must not be there. Lamentation should not be there. Holding on to something should not be there. I must keep moving. That's why it's called manly attitude. It is not talking about the body aspect as such. And of course body has got some restrictions, man and woman, no doubt in it. Especially, once the body changes, all this metamorphosis or whatever changes, modification changes, once again, if you look at technically, once this, what is called, your menstruation cycle stops, and of course again, the body of the woman changes completely. So we have to look at all these aspects very carefully. So that's why put together, this is being highlighted here, nothing else. Then he says, Tataha, thereafter, Viprata. So Viprata means, it's not a joke, it's very nice. We say, Janmana jayate sudra, sanskara dvija uchyate, vedadhyayi bhavet vipraha, brahma janati iti brahmana. So these are the classifications. Janmana jayate sudra. So the one who is born, by birth, we all are Shudra. Shudra means the one who is subject to go through samskara, subject to go through rectification, subject to go through different type of discipline. But unfortunately, by Maximular group, they translated Shudra is untouchable. It's a very bad way of translating. So they are called untouchables. So this is how the caste system thing in India. So that was the conspiracy, whatever, let us not get into. So here he says, all of us are born as that Shudra. In fact, I have seen personally in my life, when we were children, we were not allowed to be part of any ritual. In fact, when a guest comes, we were not allowed to carry the water and wash their feet, because we had not gone through the samskara. We were not allowed. They said, no, be out. Only some exception cases, if the grandfather comes, that they allowed the grandfather, okay, no problem. Only some exception cases, grandfather, not any other case, impossible. It's very, very tough. But once samskara we go through, of course we are available for everything. So that's why, because that time we were treated as Shudra, untouchable. You cannot touch anywhere. In fact, they will ask us to get out from the house. or be outside to manage us, because we'll make a mistake, we'll do something or other. However, coming back, Janmana jayate Sudra, samskara dvija uchyate. So by going through this Upanayana, the person becomes twice born, means eligible to go through the discipline. And because the person is eligible to go through discipline, and because of being disciplined, Vedadhyai bhavet vipraha, now is introduced, initiated to Veda, that person is Vipra, here is being taught. That means the person who is willing to study, willing to know. So you may be a very independent person, no lamentation, nothing, but you are not willing to know because you think you know everything. That's more dangerous. You can be arrogant, you can be another detector. Because the moment you come to a conclusion that you know everything, there is no willingness to know, that is the destruction point, that is the end point of your life. You become a destructing personality for others the day you stop learning. Please understand this point. The day you stop learning, that day becomes the last destructing, that is the point for you to destruction starts, and for others you become the cause of destruction. That's why never ever say that learning is enough. So here it says Viprata means the attitude of keeping mind open to learn. And of course after that what happens? Tasmat Vaidika Dharma Marga Parata. Okay, you learn but you do not want to implement. You learn to teach, put a mask and try to teach and preach. That's not going to work either. How long can you cheat yourself? How long can you lie to yourself? 1 day, 2 days, 3 days, few days. After that what happens? It will be a burden on you. The smile, genuine smile cannot come at home. So genuine smile comes, or your mind is relaxed when you are one with what you know. If there is a dichotomy, what you know and how you live, definitely mind will be heavy. Of course, your heart becomes heavy. So that's why it's being highlighted that Vaidika Dharma Marga Parata. Whatever you have learned, whatever you are learning, now you are committed to that learning. That means you are putting effort to see, to really implement, and of course to see the beauty of the teaching in your life, not to show the beauty of teaching to others. So that means there is a commitment with reference to your living and lifestyle. So once that is happened, there is that is not enough. Then of course, vidvastam tasmat param. So as you see, then later on you need to see that how you are knowledgeable, you are abiding with the teaching. So the knowledge of that also comes to you. Of course, that is definitely better. And of course, the most important thing is, okay, this is okay, allowed, no problem, because all of us are somehow or other. And present day, of course, we know many things because of Google and whatnot. But he says, finally, again it comes what? Atma, Anatma Vivechanam. This is what the text is. The most important thing is the Vivek, the discriminative faculty between Atma and Anatma. Which is Atma, which is me, and which is not me. Which is truth and which is false. Because all of us, we use the Viveka with reference to who in the realm of which is better false, which is lesser false. You understand? The price of shirt, how much differs. In one realm we use all our Viveka. All Viveka is in the realm of one realm. Whereas here there are two types of level, two types of reality. The reality is called truth and falsehood. So Atma and Anatma, me and other than me. So the one who is able to exercise, who is able to see the discriminative power, or able to discriminate between Atma and Anatma, between me and which is not me, which is a truth, which is not a truth or falsehood. And of course, Anubhava. It's not that only mechanically does. Of course, the person looks at it, feels it. In fact, in the, what we say, in the heart, we have discussed what is heart in details in different Upanishads, okay? Let us not get into. Because without description of that effect of heart, then you understand differently. So because all the background we have given, then you know better, okay? So then Swa Anubhava, the feeling comes. Then after that what happens? Brahmatmana Sanstiti. Then of course abiding with Brahma as me, Brahman as me. So then what happens? Muktirina Satakodi Janmasuhu Kurdei. Then he says, these are the process. Very nicely says that if you understand this thing, understanding your possibility, what you need to do, here says beautifully that if this is the point, remember, if there is no punya, if there is no good prarabdha, if you have not done good job, if you have not done good karma, remember, even if in Satakoti, it is not very nicely, okay? It says, even if Satakoti janma you passed through, remember, mukti nalabhyate iti. Definitely, there is no liberation at all. So that means what? You need to do some good karma, continue good karma, to make sure that you are sticking to the teaching. Because if you do not do the good karma, you cannot stick to the teaching. Because you think that, oh, I have done good karma, that's why I am attached to the teaching, now let me not do anything. Definitely, you will be away from it. That is how people become away from the teaching when they think that, okay, I am saturated, my good karma is done. It doesn't work at all. So that's why here it says that only punya makes you to hold. That's why we have discussed in Panchadasi very carefully this point, that because of the spark you come to Vedanta. Because of the punya you come to Vedanta. But if there is no vairagya, if there is no abhyasa, definitely you cannot stick to the Vedanta either. So many people come to Vedanta and they get dropped because there is no vairagya, there is no abhyasa. Only those who have vairagya and abhyasa, they continue to be in Vedanta. So that is what here is being highlighted. Yes, all these things, vairagya and abhyasa is a must, but prior to that, please have some punyam in your hand. Because punyam is your, please understand, that is your capital. Not only in this life, because when you do punyam, what happens, the best thing happens in your life is, at least you will see the impact of bad karma is less in your life. Whenever you have punya, please understand, whenever you have punya, definitely the impact of old bad karma is less. And moreover, later on also you continue, and which also creates better life for you, whether comes or not, that is secondary. So to make sure that when I have some opportunity, let me continue some good karma, let me have more and more punya. So in short, now let me work on it. More of it we'll see on Monday. Please close your eyes.